You have heard those terms. That's all I want to know. Okay. So I'm thinking everybody has heard it, right? Because everybody has raised your hand, which is good, right? Okay. So now let's start with, I will try to explain to you the way I can teach you all these concepts. Okay. So when you think about, let's say you're trying to define a class called animal, right? Animals have, what are the attributes animals can do? Animals can eat, animals can sleep, animals can make sounds, right? They are like general things, correct? So if I am going to define a generic class, generic meaning what? You are trying to define something common, and then if you want to specialize something, you can specialize it. Like for example, in here, what I'm saying is, I am defining a class called animal, and I am writing that an animal can eat, an animal can sleep, and animal can make sounds. Okay. So what am I defining? Any animal, regardless of which animal you take, a dog or a cat or a horse or an elephant or whatever, tiger, an animal, the basic things that they can do is they can eat, they can sleep, they can make sound. You can also add more things. I'm just giving examples that if I'm defining what is common for an animal, I'm defining those. Any questions on that first? When I define, what do I mean by defining an animal class? Okay, no question. So then now, once I have the basic class, I'm saying now I'm going to derive a class called dog. Okay. So is dog an animal? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, right?
Yes.
So I'm saying now dog is also an animal. So I'm defining a class as a derived class. What do you mean by derived? I'm deriving a new class called dog from the animal class. Does that make sense? So I'm saying I'm defining now a class called dog, which is derived from the animal class. I am going to make a change for the derived class dog, that the sounds that a dog makes is a woof woof sound. It will still say eat, sleep is the common, but in the sound, I'm going to change in my derived class. Instead of saying I can make sounds, I'm changing it to I can make woof woof sounds. Okay. Similarly, I'm going to have another derived class called cat, derived from the animal class, and I'm going to change the cat of the make sound function definition to be I can make meow meow sounds. So far, so good. Okay. So now what have I defined? I have technically derived three classes. One base class called animal, two derived classes from that animal class, one dog and one cat. Okay. So now I'm going to create objects based on this class. So I'm creating dog1 to be a dog. So how do I do that? When I create dog object, I'm going to refer to the class I want it to belong to. So dog1 is a dog. So now as a dog, it will inherit all these three things, right? Because dog is also an animal, but then I have overwritten the make sound into I make woof woof sounds. So when I say dog1 dot eat, dog1 dot sleep, dog1 dot make sound, what do you think will be printed when I run this program? In line 20, what will be printed? Let's ask Sivakarthika. Sivakarthika, she's there, right?
Ma'am.
Ah. So when I invoke the class, right? When I run this program and this
Okay.
happens, dog1 dot eat, what will be printed?
Mm, I can eat, ma'am.
Yes. Okay, next Lalita. What will happen in 21? Dog1 dot sleep.
I can sleep.
Right. So Krishna, what will happen in line 22?
I make poof sound, ma'am.
I make what?
Poof poof sound.
Right. Why didn't it say I can make sounds?
Ma'am, we have created an object for dog class, ma'am. We
Yes,
have
because
make
this
sound.
takes precedence. Only if the function is not defined here, it goes to the base class. Do you understand that part?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes? Okay. So now I'm trying to see who are in the class. Hold on. So Krishna, Lalita, Sivakarthika, Hari Prasanna is on the call. Okay, so now Hari Prasanna, when I do the cat and I do these things, what will happen with line 27?
Line 27, I can make meow meow sounds.
Sounds will happen. Okay. So now, same thing, Hari Prasanna. What will happen in line 32?
32, I can make sounds then.
Yes, because we don't, rabbit is defined as a animal class, correct?
Yes,
So rabbit does not have a special class. It is referring to the base class. Okay, did everybody understand what is going on in this program before I move on to the next concept? Any questions so
No.
far of what I taught? Everybody good?
மேம் எனக்கு வந்து அந்த பேராமீட்டர்ஸ்ல வந்து செல்ஃப்னு கொடுக்காங்க மேம். செல்ஃப் தான் கொடுக்கணுமா இல்ல நம்ம யூஸ் பண்ணுவோம் மேம், அந்த மாதிரிலாம் யூஸ் பண்ணலாமா டவுட்.
I'm going to go to those concepts next. இது வந்து நான் basically I'm trying to explain to you. Forget about all the encapsulation. I have not done encapsulation yet. Correct? இங்க வந்து வெறும்னா I'm introducing you a concept of a derived class. That's all I'm introducing you. Did that help?
Okay.
Right? In the example, I've defined a base class, I've defined a derived class. In the derived class, I am making some changes. Correct? So what is happening when I use the derived class? It first looks at what is overwritten in this class. Correct? Only if it is not available here, it goes to the base class. Correct? That makes sense? That's what I want you to understand from this particular concept. Okay, good. Okay, so now I know I talked about the concepts called polymorphism, right? So what do you think polymorphism mean? In object oriented, anybody wants to take an try? What is morphism? Like, do you know the word morphism and what is poly? Like, try to break it. What is morph? Morph is what in English? What does morph mean? Anybody knows? Look at the dictionary and tell me the answer. What is poly mean? What does morph mean?
Form, ma'am. Form.
Sorry?
Form.
Yeah. So morph is like you want to change it into a different thing. Correct? Morphing is you change into a different thing. What does poly mean?
Many.
Many, right? So what does polymorphism mean? Many forms, correct?
Many forms.
Right. So in this example, do you understand why it is polymorphism concept that I'm trying to teach you here? What happened here? Tell me, why is this concept to teach polymorphism? I gave you this example. Why?
That makes one third man.
So I made different forms of an animal, correct? So it's an animal, but it also morphed into a dog with its own special characteristics, correct? I made a morphed animal into a cat and I had its own characteristics. And I can derive so many different things. I can make a class rabbit. I can make a class horse. So I can keep deriving different classes and I'm changing the animal into a different version of an animal. Does that make sense? So that is the concept of polymorphism. Did you understand the concept? Do you want me to repeat anything? Okay. Purinjida? So polymorphism, even in the interview, the reason why I'm asking you to give an example and also explaining the concept is lot of the interview questions, what we have heard is people ask object-oriented questions, right? If you just give theory, that means you just studied and you're just vomiting those words, right? But you need to have an understanding. So in the interview, if somebody asks you a question, hey, what is polymorphism? I want you to not only give the theory of what polymorphism is and try to give an example of what polymorphism is. That will show the interviewer your deep understanding of the object-oriented concept. Did that help to everyone? That is why I'm trying to stress you to understand not only the concept and also have an example to talk through it. Yes? Do you want me to repeat anything? You have to say yes or no or something. I cannot be like talking to emptiness, right? Please. Everything good with polymorphism? Everybody understood?
Yes,
ma'am.
Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, move on to the next concept.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, so now let me go to, I think I'll come to the encapsulation in the end. Okay, so now I'm going to show you the same thing, but just like, how do I say it? Like with one, I know I started with polymorphism. I should have started with this, but that's okay. I'm just giving two examples, right? So can someone explain to me what is done here? Who can explain to me? Somebody have your hand up. And I want you to walk through that example and tell me what exactly is happening in that particular program. Who wants to volunteer? Try it and I will help you. Okay, somebody raised their hand. Okay, Lalita, go ahead.
First, a class is created. A class name is created as class parent. That we have defined name and the age is 0 and the name is empty. Next, we are creating an object for this class, parent class. So the object is parent one is created for the parent class. So when we call using the object dot name, the name is blue, and here the name becomes blue, man. Parent one dot age. When we are calling age, then the age becomes 10. Then we are creating another object for the same class, parent 2. So when parent 2 dot name is equal to red, then the name will changes, name is equal to red. And parent 2 dot age equal to age, then age equal to age.
Okay, so what will be printed now when I do those print statement? Let me ask Krishna.
Ma'am,
Yeah, what will be printed in line 15 and 16?
ma'am, in line 15, blue is 10 years old, and then, ma'am, red is 8 years old, ma'am.
Correct. Okay. Did you all understand how it's like some basic simple class, only one class, no derivation, no encapsulation, no polymorphism? Correct. I wanted to start with this, but I went to the second one. But this makes sense to everybody. So if let's say I remove this, okay, I'm going to comment this out. So now I'm going to ask Sivakarthika, what will be printed if I do this?
Ma'am, 15th line. Blue is 10 years old, ma'am. 16th line வந்து red is 0 years old, ma'am.
Correct. Correct. So now let's say Hariprasanna, what will be printed now?
I'm in 16th line. Name will be empty, ma'am.
Then?
And parent to age on the 0, ma'am. 0 years
Correct.
old.
Does it make sense to everybody? What will happen? Do you see the answer? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
So now do you understand what a class means, what the initialization mean, and how you can manipulate the values outside, right? Everybody good understand? This is a typical object-oriented example, and I already took you to polymorphism, where you started with the base class and you also derived classes, which is more advanced after the parent, right? We talked about polymorphism. Okay, so now let's go to the inheritance, okay? So now look at what is happening here. What is the same concept, right? So what did we do? The bird class is defined, right? Now I'm deriving a class called parrot. So for parrot, I'm saying the fly height. Is there a fly height here? No, right? The base class only had name and age. But in my derived class, I'm introducing two concepts saying, along with the name and age, for a parrot, I'm also going to track the fly height, how much it can fly, and the color of the bird. For the eagle derived class, I'm going to say I is equal to black, right? So now what am I doing? I created two derived classes, but I'm adding different things to it, correct? Correct? So now when I create a parrot object, what are the parrot things that are available? Who can answer me? What are all the characteristics available for parrot 1? Sivakarthika. What objects are available, characteristics are available for a parrot 1?
Name, age, ma'am.
அப்புறம் is only name, age available? அப்ப bird
Fly.
Fly height,
Fly
color,
height,
not
color.
available, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Right? Because it is getting the name and age from the base class, it gets the fly height and color from the derived class. எல்லாருக்கும் புரிஞ்சுதா அது?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So same thing with parrot too. So what is available for eagle, Lalita? What characteristics are available if I define eagle 1 as a eagle? What are all the different characteristics available for eagle 1? Can you tell me?
Name, age, and eyes.
Yes, perfect, right? So even though parrot and eagle are derived classes, they have their own characteristics added, special characteristics added for that class, correct? So you can say here, like, even though I'm just using name and age, so now I can add, like I initialize name and age, correct? And I initialize eagle and age. So now see here, if I print now parrot name is parrot 1 age is old and flying height is fly height and this, now what will be printed? Who can tell me? Let's pick Krishna. So what will be printed in line 26?
Ma'am, 1 second.
Take your time.
Okay, ma'am. Blue is 10 years old and flying height is 100, ma'am.
Correct. Okay, Hari Prasanna, line 27.
Red is 8 years old and the flying height is 100.
Correct. Okay, next Sivakarthika, line 28.
Raja is 20 years old and color of eyes is black, ma'am.
Correct. புரிஞ்சதா எல்லாருக்கும்?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now let me ask you about again the same way I asked you in the do you know what inheritance means? So like, don't worry about object oriented programming. What is the English meaning of inheritance? What is inheritance?
Accessing all properties and methods from the parent class.
நீ இங்கிலீஷ்ல உன்னுடைய இன்ஹெரிட்டன்ஸ் என்னன்னு கேட்டேன்னா தமிழ்ல நீ என்ன சொல்லுவ? Let's start there.
ஒரு சும்மா ஃபேமிலி எக்ஸாம்பிள் சொல்லலாமா மேம்?
ஃபேமிலி எக்ஸாம்பிள். உங்க தாத்தா உங்க அப்பா வச்ச சொத்தெல்லாம் you inherit, right? Correct? Correct? If they have property, you inherit. அவங்க கடன் இருந்தா அதுவும் you inherit, right? You get everything, right? So basically, you are taking the in an object-oriented programming, if you have to talk about it, you are inheriting the attributes of and the methods. Right now, இங்க நான் methods காமிக்கல. வெறும்னா நம்ம வந்து attributes தான் பார்த்தோம் இல்லையா? Eyes, age, height. So From one class, you are inheriting into the other class. What did you do? The derived class is the child class, correct? What did you inherit from the child class? From the parent class in these two things? The name and the age you inherited into the derived class, correct? Without it being defined. Do you understand what inheritance means? So
Yes,
in
ma'am.
an object-oriented concept, it's basically one class inheriting the attributes and methods of another class. That's all it is, right? So even in the example, so here only attributes, right? Because name, age, fly height, and color are all attributes. But if you remember, what did we inherit here? Do you remember for the dog, what did you inherit? You inherited even the methods, correct? Eat and sleep methods also you inherited because you said dog1.eat, dog1.sleep, right? Not only the attributes, you can also inherit the methods, right? So when you think about an example of inheritance and the concept, does this make clear? Like, do you think you can answer this question in an interview? That's my whole point. புரிஞ்சுதா inheritance na? Any other questions? Yes, no, maybe, somebody answer.
No question, ma'am.
Okay, good. Somebody has to answer. Maybe you take turns if you don't want to all talk at the same time. But if you don't answer, then I don't know what is going on, right? Okay. So again, that's where I was saying in the inheritance second concept, right? It's not only the properties you saw, dot name, dot age, dot fly height, dot color. You can also inherit the functions. So for example, in the class animal, it can eat, it can sleep. But now in the dog derived class, I have defined something called bark. I can bark. And then for the cat, I have derived something called night vision. I can see in the dark, right? So when you see the dog one being initiated as the dog object, I can say dog one can eat, dog one dot sleep, because I'm inheriting the methods from the base class. And I also have a special method within my derived class called bark. Does that make sense now? And if you take rabbit, the same example, it's base class, so all it has is two methods, eat and sleep. But whereas the derived class dog and cat have eat, sleep, and the special methods that we defined in the derived class. So same concept. Inheritance is basically you deriving the attributes and the methods from the base class. That's the concept of inheritance. So just reiterating the same concept. Yes? Everybody good with this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now what I'm going to introduce is the encapsulation. So first of all, before I start encapsulation, does anybody know what encapsulation mean in object-oriented programming or in general? So try to look up definition of the word encapsule. What is encapsule?
கேப்சூலுக்குள்ள எல்லா டேட்டாஸும் இருக்கிற மாதிரி
ஒளிச்சு
அந்த டேப்லெட்
வைக்கிறது,
மாதிரி தானே
right? You are kind of hiding it. You are enclosing it into a something, right? So now I'm trying to see encapsule in Tamil. What would be the right term for encapsule? Urai. அப்படின்னு சொல்லுது. Basically, you have a cover over it. Nobody can see what's inside. Does that make sense? Encapsule. Yes. So when you look at encapsulation in object-oriented definition, it basically says the definition is you are actually encapsulation is hiding the value or state of an object, preventing unauthorized parties direct access to them. So for example, what I'm saying is, in that example, நான் இப்போ ஒரு example காமிக்கிறேன் உங்களுக்கு. So இங்க வந்து, what am I doing here? If I am having a method called print, I'm saying this class employee, in the definition, print self is what? Print name and the manager, right? So now வெளியில வந்துட்டு, if I have a derived class, I can rewrite this print, right? Saying, okay, if I have a manager as my derived class, I can change it, correct? But the one that is initializing this part, when I put those underscore in the beginning, that means outside the class, nobody can change it. They cannot change it. They have to use this function to set any value. Does that, first of all, do you understand what I'm trying to say here?
No, ma'am.
Say that again. I cannot hear you properly.
Oh, I can't understand, ma'am. Can you repeat,
Okay.
ma'am?
Good, good. Okay, so that's what I want to hear, that you didn't understand. That's good, right? So what I'm trying to say is, so like, for example, let's take, so here, okay, I'm saying even equal to employee of Anu. What does that mean? Oops, sorry. I am creating an object of class what? Employee, right?
Ma'am.
Right. And I'm passing the value name, right? And similarly, I'm creating E2 as an employee object with the name Chitra, right? And then I'm setting even.manager equal to E2, right? So I'm saying Chitra's Anu's manager is Chitra, right? And then I'm printing even name and I'm doing even.print. So print la vandu in the idu print agano, right? So let's first, okay, let me comment this. Let's take this off. Okay. So what happened here in this class? Let me reset the term. So enna achinga? What got printed? The first thing is I created an employee object Anu, and then I created an employee Chitra, and I said Anu's manager is Chitra, and I called this function print even.name. So this print function, what did it do? It said name Anu, manager Chitra, correct? Do you see that here? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now what did I do here? I sent this value Anu, correct? Yes? Can I say in this example, even.name equal to Anu? Can I do that? Or maybe let's say I want to change even not name to Lalita, let's say. If I do this, what will happen? What did I do here in line 13?
Accessing name variable.
Name variable. So I can literally change the employee name to Lalita from this class. Do you want that to happen outside the class? Do you want somebody to change the employee's name? You don't want that, correct? You want to protect one object is created. You don't want to change somebody coming and changing the employee's name, correct? That would be like, if I have a salary, I have my information, personal information, somebody is now overwriting and saying, oh, this is not Anu, this is Lalita now, right? You cannot do that, correct? You want to protect it. Does it make sense? Yes? Okay. So now, why could I change it? Because it just says self.name equal to name. So anytime outside, I can access that. But now let's say instead of self.name, right? Okay. So now we take this example. Okay. This is the class person. So see what I got the wiggly thing. Why did I get the wiggly thing? What do I have here? Instead of self.name, what do I have here? 2 underscores, correct? So now, if I have it like that, I can never change the name like this, or no, like let's say. Okay, so if I now say A is a person and A name equal to Anu, right? What did I get an error as? See the error? It said this cannot be accessed, correct? But here it can be accessed. So the only way for me to do it is if I pass it here, right? So I cannot do this, but I can print, oops. No, I have to access it within the function. So let's say I have it here like this. Sorry, one second. Is it getting an error? Let's see. Person. Oh, sorry, I cannot pass this. Why is it getting an error? So I initialized it here. It's not letting me access it outside, I think. That's what it seems like. Okay, sorry, I was making a mistake. So do you see here, I cannot access my name outside at all. It's not letting me. I kept getting error, right? So I have to even print it within this print statement, within this class, right? So the minute I put underscore underscore, it is going to be inside, encapsulated. It's not accessible outside the class. So all the things that I tried before, it did not let me do because it is protected. Did you see what I was struggling with? I was trying to access the underscore underscore name outside the class. It did not let me at all. Do you see the problem? What happened? So whereas here I was able to change everything because I did not use the underscore concept here, right? So it was not, it was accessible outside. But the minute I put underscore underscore before the property, it is not at all accessible outside. No matter what I tried, I kept getting error. So I had to write even the accessing that value within the class. Do you see this? This is what is encapsulation. Did that make sense, everybody? So that is encapsulation. Basically, you are protecting the value and the changing of the attribute within the class. You are not going to allow outside the class to do any changes to those things that you are encapsulating. So for doing the encapsulation in the Python, all you have to do is you put the 2 underscores in the front of it. Any questions on that? No questions?
No, ma'am.
So let me give you one more example. I am taking it from the online and I'm going to show you so that you get more get into it. Okay, so let's create. Okay, so now what I'm doing is, oops, hold on, edit, undo, not this. Sorry, I got disconnected. Can you hear me now?
That's fine.
So where did you not hear me? When did you stop hearing me? Did you see?
Told that
Uh.
we'll take example from online.
Right. Oh, okay. So you saw what I did for Krishna and print like why it's not available, right? Underscore underscore outside. Okay. So I wanted to I asked Hariprasanna if you can explain me what is done in this class. If you can still see my screen.
Screen not visible.
Sorry?
Screen தெரியல.
Screen தெரியலையா? Oh, sorry. Hold on. I don't know why I'm having issues. Okay. Ipo? Not this, sorry. That's not what I wanted to share. Where am I? One second. Okay. Ipo தெரியுதா screen?
Yes, ma'am.
இப்ப நான் ஹைலைட் பண்ணிருக்கிறது ஒரு எம்ப்ளாயி கிளாஸ், கரெக்ட்?
Yes, ma'am.
இதுல என்ன பண்ணிருக்காங்க? Can you tell me what is defined in the employee class?
Ma'am,
Hmm.
name is given as name, self dot name and the salary
Mm.
and the project.
Mm.
And then
Mm.
from line 44 printing name as, sorry ma'am, don't understand.
Okay. So what is happening is we are defining a class called employee. Okay. You don't want the employee name, salary, and project to be set by these properties available outside. You want to do it inside. So what did you do in the class? You called it with a double underscore initialization, correct? Underscore underscore init, and you're saying self. And when you invoke, you're going to send name, salary, project, right? So this function, when you call the employee class to define an object, you're going to send name, salary, project. Like for example, here see, employee Jessa 8000 NLP. So what does that mean? You are creating an employee called Jessa with salary 8,000 rupees and working on project NLP, right? You don't want outside to access employee.name, employee.salary, employee.project. So that's why you are using this encapsulation function to construct that object outside. Okay. Then you also have methods, because if somebody wants to see the name and the salary and what they are working on, since these attributes are not available outside, you are creating functions to show that, right? There is a function called show, and if you invoke that object, for that object, if you do show, it's going to say the name Jesse, salary 8,000 rupees. And then if you want to know what they are working on, then you will invoke a function called work. It will say Jesse is working on NLP. Does it make sense? So what have you encapsulated here? The properties that you build that object, the name, salary, and project. You don't want it to be accessible outside that function, outside the class definition. Same concept, right? I was telling you here, I'm just reiterating here, right? Where we said just the name we protected here, right? In the previous one, just the name, correct? Here, I'm taking that one step ahead where you're saying, I am the entire initialization, name, salary, and project, I'm putting it underneath this constructor. And then because I want to be able to see the details, I'm defining two methods. One method is show, one method is work. So then when you create the object, you're going to call it as emp as employee Jessa 8000 and NLP. Now when you do emp.show, what will happen? It will invoke this function. First, here it will initially construct that object, right? Jessa 8000 NLP. So it will say that particular emp.name equal to Jessa, emp.salary is 8000, emp.project equal to NLP, correct? Then when you do emp.show, it's going to print Jessa, then salary 8,000, right? Then when you do the work, it's going to say Jessa is working on NLP. Does that make sense, everybody? So if I run this, okay, you can see in my screen, oops, sorry. Right? So see in the end, this is what is printed, right? Name Jessa, salary 8,000, Jessa is working on NLP. So I'm just reiterating the encapsulation concepts here. Okay? Everybody understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So now how do you think you can do this for your cafe problem? What do you think is common in your cafe problem? What did you all do? You had different food items, correct? Idli, vada, coffee. And every item had a quantity, a cost, whatever, correct? So do you think you can do this kind of concept and build your cafe problem? Do you think you can? Because if you think about it, it's the same concept, right? In your cafe problem, what did you do in your cafe problem? Let's take the cafe problem. I don't know what I have. So you had Vadai tea coffee, like in this example, there is a price, there is a stock, there is a sales, and there is a profit, correct? So can I create an object class called food item and have these as the properties, attributes? Yes or no? So if I have to write this class, let me ask somebody. So Krishna, how would you write the, how would you define a class called food item? Let's go here. So what would you do? Class, let's say food item. So if I'm going to just copy this so that you can take, we can just change this. So let's say, for example, I am going to, I'm going to copy this for a second and I paste it here and we'll modify it, okay? So let's say I have this. So instead of employee, I'm going to say food item or menu item, let's say. Okay? So in my initialization, what are all the things I would add here? Name is there, right? I still need my menu item name. What else will I add here, Krishna?
One second, ma'am. Ma'am, menu item is name, ma'am.
For each food item,
And number of
menu item is the class. The name of the menu item is Vadai.
Okay.
Right. So no, Inga, see here my thing and tell me the exact names. Can you see my screen? You can see in my screen what I have, right? Based on that, tell me what all I need to add here. I have a name. What else I need?
Then salary, but here price, ma'am.
What do I have here for each item? Exactly. Price. What else do I need? Look at my code and then tell me.
Okay.
After price, what do I have?
And quantity, ma'am.
Stock, right? I called it stock or quantity, right? But here I called it a stock. I'm going to use stock. Okay. Then what's next?
Then sales we.
What am I tracking here, Krishna? Exactly. So I need to keep track of for each item the sales so far, correct? What else?
Name. Profit, ma'am.
Yes. Anything else? That's it, right?
No.
That's all I'm tracking in this program. In your program, you might have different values. You can change it, right? Based on this, if I have to define my class, I would define my class like this. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, now let me ask Sivakarthika. So how will I change my line 8 to 10 now?
Self.name equal to name, okay, ma'am. Self dot
okay.
Price equal to price.
Very good.
Self dot stock equal to stock.
Very good.
Self dot sales equal to sales.
1 second. Okay. Okay.
Self dot profit equal to profit.
Very good. So now Lalita. Okay. So forget about these lines. For now, I'm just only talking about the definition function, right? So now, how would I initiate my class? So let's say I'm saying menu item 1. Menu item 1 would be, I have to define, initiate this class, right? Menu underscore item, correct? So I'm going to say menu underscore item. இது உள்ள நான் என்ன pass பண்ணுவேன்? First, வடைக்கு.
Values, ma'am.
If I'm going to create
name வந்து வடை.
Tell me the value. Okay.
வடை வடை, comma 10 rupees 10, comma 50, comma sales 0, comma 4.
Very good. Does everybody understand what is going on here? So now what would I do for the second item, Hari Prasanna? Or I can also say this menu item itself is Vadai. I can also do like that, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
I can name it Vadai itself. So now let's say, what will you do for T?
T is equal to menu item bracket T. Then the price 12 45.
என்ன price அங்க?
12 ma'am. 45 0 5.
Correct. Okay. Okay, now Sivakarthika, Krishna, what's next left?
Ma'am, now price is equal one second, ma'am.
Vadai create பண்ணிட்டோம், T create பண்ணிட்டோம். What else is missing?
Ma'am, price, ma'am.
என்னப்பா price?
sorry.
மெனுல வடை இருக்கு,
coffee,
டீ
ma'am.
இருக்கு.
Coffee, ma'am.
Coffee. Right. So coffee equal to menu item.
Parameter வந்து double quotesல coffee, ma'am.
Coffee.
Comma ma'am, and that 12 அது மட்டும் தான் ma'am. இந்த கர்சர் மார்க்கிங்.
Recursion இல்லப்பா, மெனுல வடை, டீ, காஃபி இருக்கு.
இல்ல கர்சர் மார்க்கிங்.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
One second, ma'am. 12 10. பேராமீட்டர்ஸ் மட்டும் கொஞ்சம் மறந்துச்சு மேம். பேராமீட்டர்ஸ் மட்டும் காட்டுங்க மேம். இந்த ஆர்டர் அனுப்பிச்சிருக்கீங்க மேம். ஹலோ மேம், ஸ்க்ரீன் ஆஃப் ஆயிடுச்சு.
What is done here? Screen off ஆயிடுச்சா? Can everybody see the screen? Okay. So in the list நான் என்ன பண்ணிருக்கேன்? Forget about the previous code. In the line 26 to 30, can you explain me what I have done?
மெனு வச்சுக்கீங்க மேம். அப்போ பிரைஸ், ஸ்டாக் எல்லாமே லிஸ்ட்ல வச்சுக்கீங்க மேம்.
சரி, இப்போ இதுல வந்து வடை, டீ, காஃபில பிரைஸ், ஈச் ஆஃப் தோஸ் பிரைசஸ் நான் எப்படி கண்டுபிடிக்கிறேன்? வடை எவ்வளவு, டீ எவ்வளவு, காஃபி எவ்வளவுன்னு எனக்கு எப்படி தெரியும்?
பேராமீட்டர்ஸ் கொஞ்சம் மறந்தனால அப்படி 15.
பேராமீட்டர்ஸ் மறக்கிறது இல்லப்பா, அந்த பிரைஸ்ல 3 வேல்யூ இருக்கு. What do they mean?
எஸ் மேம், ஒரு ஸ்நாக்ஸ்க்கும் ஒரு பிரைஸ் மேம்.
ஆமா, வடையோட பிரைஸ் 15, 10, 12?
10 மேம். 10 மேம்.
ஏன் 10 நீ சொல்ற?
மேம், அந்த லிஸ்ட்ல இண்டெக்ஸ் 0th இண்டெக்ஸ்ல
அவ்வளவுதான். சோ இப்போ நான் காஃபிக்கு எழுதும்போது நான் என்ன எழுதணும்? எந்த வேல்யூஸ் எழுதணும்?
15
எஸ், அவ்வளவுதான். அதுக்கு என்ன பாராமீட்டருக்கு தகராறு பண்ணுது உனக்கு? ஸ்டாக் எவ்வளவு?
40 மேம்.
சேல்ஸ் 0.
then 0 மேம். profit 6 மேம்.
அவ்வளவுதான். That's it. Right? So instead of doing like this, I am doing it into a class and I am initializing the name and the price and the stock and the sales and the profit. And I am invoking those menu items for each of them like this. Okay, va? So எனக்கு இது எதுவுமே வேண்டாம் இப்போ, கரெக்டா? I can take that off. Yes? Okay.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
now இப்ப இங்க உள்ள வந்து நம்ம என்னென்னலாம் வந்து ஃபங்க்ஷன் பண்ணியிருக்கோம்? ஒரு குவான்டிட்டி அனுப்பும் போது அதை நம்ம சப்ட்ராக்ட் பண்றோம் குவான்டிட்டி ஸ்டாக்ல இருந்து, கரெக்டா? கஸ்டமரோட இன்புட்டை வச்சு. So now do you know how you can do those functions within this? any functions that you have for each of the quantity, you can directly write it here, right? Inside here, right? You can pass the input and then say, okay, subtract that input from this self dot price, self dot stock, right? So you can write all the functions that are common for the menu item within the class. Right? So இங்க right now வந்து showனா நம்ம என்ன பண்ணிருக்கோம்? இங்க வந்து அந்த previous exampleல salary அது print பண்ணிருக்கோம். இங்க வந்து if you want, you can print everything, right? You can say name is this, price is self dot price, and so on. You get the idea. I'm not going to write everything. புரிஞ்சுதா? You can do that, right? Or yeah, I can say like update quantity, let's say, right? The update quantity, let's say I'm sending self comma customer quantity, let's say. Okay. So then what will I do here within this? I will be updating the quantity, right? So what will be my self dot stock? Oops. Right? Self dot stock would be minus equal to customer quantity. Correct? That makes sense to everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
புரியுதா நான் என்ன பண்றேன்னு
Yes, ma'am.
எல்லாருக்கும்? Right?
Yes, ma'am.
அந்த மாதிரி you can
Yes,
write
ma'am.
your own methods within this. இது காமன் தானே, வெதர் வடையா இருக்கட்டும், டீயா இருக்கட்டும், காஃபியா இருக்கட்டும், சேம் கான்செப்ட்ஸ். கரெக்ட்? சோ நான் வெளியில நான் என்ன பண்ணலாம்? All I can do is I can just say, right? What did I think I deleted something. What did I do? எங்க இட்லி எங்க போச்சு? ஒரு வடை எங்க போச்சு? வடை ஏதோ delete பண்ணிட்டேன். ஒரு நிமிஷம். Okay, sorry. அந்த லைனையும் delete பண்ணிட்டேன் by mistake. Okay. So, or actually I can print if I want, right? Inga, once the quantity is done, right? I can, if I want to check my current quantity, I can say current quantity, right? I can print self dot stock, right? So that I know 10 இருந்து 2 வந்து கஸ்டமர் வாங்கிட்டாருன்னா இப்போ இவ்வளவுதான் இருக்கு, நான் பிரிண்ட் பண்ணிக்கலாம் வேணும்னா. Again, it's up to you what you want to do within your function. In your cafe problem, how did you do it? Whatever you did it, you can add these functions here. புரியுதா எல்லாருக்கும்?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So இப்ப நான் இங்க வந்து so I'm going to kind of like hold on, let me just where is my comment? Okay, I'll just comment out whatever all these things. Okay, so இப்போ right now if I say vadai dot show, what will happen?
Shows name vadai, price 10 rupees.
அவ்வளவுதான். ஓகேவா? So let's run it and see. You see it now? Let me, yeah, you guys can see it, right? Vadai price 10. புரிஞ்சுதா எல்லாருக்கும்? So what if now I want to update quantity? Or let's say I want to update T's quantity. T dot, sorry, not next line. T dot update quantity. If let's say I 2 tea order பண்ணாங்கன்னா நான் என்ன பண்ணணும்? Right? Correct? What will happen now if I do this? என்ன ஆச்சு?
Ma'am, it will minus stock from T, ma'am.
Correct. 2 பண்ணி அது print பண்ணுது current quantity. 45 ல இருந்து it became 43, right? Do you see that? புரிஞ்சுதா எல்லாருக்கும்?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so can you take it as homework, right? I just took an example of what I had in my cafe problem and I added small functions as an example, right? But you all did more sophisticated than that. So I want you to change your program that you have done, cafe problem, and rewrite it into using classes. Can you do that? Yes or no? Maybe.
Yes, ma'am. Try, ma'am.
Everybody, do you feel you are comfortable? You can do it?
Yes, ma'am.
Everybody.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Everybody give me an answer. Yes. Okay. You feel comfortable, you can do your cafe problem now, change it to create like a class and the constructor and the methods that you want, and whatever you have done outside, you have to now encapsulate everything into the class itself. Because they're all common, right? Whether it is vada, tea, or coffee. But if there is something special you need to do for one of the items, you can have like a special function, correct? If let's say you want to do for tea and coffee something different, you can change, you can also have a derived class from this menu item saying this is like drinks menu item, right? Drinks menu item can be derived class for the menu item, but it can have other things. Like, can you think about how a derived class will work in this scenario? Similar to a derived class we saw. If you want, you can do it. If you can have a derived class. If you want some special items, let's say there are some special items, you want to handle them differently, you can definitely have a derived class and do it. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Hopefully you understood little bit more about object-oriented programming. That was my intention. Okay. Anything else on this?
அந்த டிரே கிளாஸ் சொன்னீங்களா மேம், அந்த ட்ரிங்க்ஸ்ன்னு சொல்லிட்டு ஆட் பண்றோம் சொன்னீங்களா மேம்? அப்பனா நம்ம டிரே கிளாஸ்க்கு ஆப்ஜெக்ட் கிரியேட் பண்ணி தானே மேம் நம்ம இந்த மெனுன்றத ஆக்சஸ் பண்ண மெனு ஐட்டம்ஸ் ஆக்சஸ் பண்ற மாதிரி இருக்கும்.
ஆமா. சோ இப்போ let's say I have a derived class. So நம்ம வந்து இந்த டாக் பண்ணும்போது நம்ம என்ன பண்ணோம்? இங்க பாத்தீங்கல்ல. சோ இப்போ நீ என்ன பண்ற? கிளாஸ் ஆஃப், சோ 1 செகண்ட். சோ இந்த மாதிரி பண்றோம் இல்லையா? பேரட் வந்து பேர்ட். சோ நீ இந்த எக்ஸாம்பிள்ல நீ என்ன பண்ணலாம்? சோ லெட்ஸ் சே உனக்கு வந்து ட்ரிங்க் மெனு ஐட்டம்ஸ் வந்து உனக்கு டிஃபரெண்டா நீ பண்ணணும்னு வச்சுக்கலாம், ரைட்? சோ யூ வில் டிரைவ் ட்ரிங்க் மெனு ஐட்டம் is derived from menu item. கரெக்டா? Okay, so இதுக்கு நீ definition கொடுத்துக்கலாம். So let's say in derived definition வந்து let's say you have what is it, brand name வச்சுக்கலாம். Okay, you're going to have a thing called what do you call definition of what do you call, like self, let's put self dot drinks equal to or let's say I'm trying to give an example of what we can do. Let's say ஒரு function எழுதிப்போம், method எழுதிப்போம், ஏதாவது புதுசா ட்ரிங்க்கு. Okay, so let's say when you update the quantity, okay, let's say you also have to reorder. Okay, so let's say you want to do for update quantity for this one extra things. Okay, so you want to say if self dot stock less than 10. Okay, let's say you want to print time to reorder drinks, because for drinks it takes time, right? You have to get it from somewhere else. Like let's say you are reordering Coke or Sprite or something, right? Maybe you want to give a message time to reorder. Only for drinks you want to do it, not for anything else, right? Just giving some example so that we can do it, right? So let's say, so now what will happen in the update quantity in the regular menu item, all you are doing is subtracting and printing it. But for if it is a drink menu item, you are going to say time to reorder. You also are going to do something extra, something different, right? You have an if statement and you're doing something different. or I can even change it to less than 100, right? So now what am I going to do? Vadai will be menu item, but when I define tea, I'm going to say it's a drink menu item. And same thing with the coffee, I'm going to say it's a drink menu item. So now the concepts I taught you, what is happening now when I do this? Who can tell me? What am I doing here? What did I do here?
I'm calling that drink menu item class.
Right. So here I'm using the base class. Here I'm using the derived class. So now when I do T உடைய update quantity, so நான் இங்க வந்து update quantity 2 போட்டிருக்கேன் இல்லையா? இங்க வந்து வடைக்கு வந்து, well, let's call both the functions, right? So let's say I'm calling vadai dot update quantity 2. And then I'm calling T dot update quantity 2, right? I'm calling the same function for different values, correct? So what will happen now? See what happened, tell me.
மேம் லைன் 34ன்னு சொல்லணுமா மேம்? லைன் 34ல வந்து வடை டாட் ஷோன்றப்ப நேம் இஸ் வடை, நேம் வடைன்னு சொல்லிட்டு பிரைஸ் டிஸ்ப்ளே ஆயிரும் மேம்.
10 பிரிண்ட் ஆச்சு.
தென் வடை டாட் அப்டேட்னா நம்ம வடையில இருக்கிற ஸ்டாக்ல இருந்து 2 மைனஸ் ஆகும். தென் டி டாட் அப்டேட்ல வந்து ஃபர்ஸ்ட் வந்து அந்த டீன்ற ஆப்ஜெக்ட் வந்து ட்ரிங்க் மெனு ஐட்டம்ன்ற கிளாஸ்க்கு கிரியேட் பண்ணிக்கோம். ஸோ அதனால வந்து ட்ரிங்க் மெனு ஐட்டம்ன்றது டிரைவ் ஆயிருக்கு. எந்த கிளாஸ்ல மெனு ஐட்டம்ன்ற கிளாஸ்ல இருந்து டிரைவ் ஆயிருக்கு. ஸோ அதனால ஃபர்ஸ்ட் வந்து என்ன பண்ணுதுன்னா, அது வந்து நம்ம ட்ரிங்க் மெனு ஐட்டம்லயே வந்து அப்டேட் குவான்டிட்டின்ற மெத்தட் இருக்கிறதுனால அதுலயே வந்துருக்கு மேம்.
கரெக்ட்.
ஸோ அதனால வந்து ஸ்டாக்ல இருந்து 2 மைனஸ் பண்றாங்க மேம் ஃபர்ஸ்ட். மேம் ஆனா இது வந்து ஓகே டீல இருந்து நம்ம குறையுது. தென் வந்து செல்ஃப் ஸ்டாக் வந்து 100ஓட லெஸ் தான், அதாவது ஸ்டாக் வந்து 100ஓட லெஸ் ஆச்சுன்னா டைம் டு ரெக்கார்டுன்னு சொல்லிட்டு ரெக்கார்டர்னு சொல்லிட்டு வந்துருக்கு, ரீ ஆர்டர்னு சொல்லிட்டு வந்துருக்கு மேம். தென் எப்பயும் போல நேம் வந்து அந்த நேம் டி கரண்ட் குவான்டிட்டின்னு சொல்லிட்டு அந்த கரண்ட் குவான்டிட்டி டிஸ்ப்ளே ஆயிரும் மேம்.
45ல இருந்து 2 மைனஸ் ஆகி 43 காமிக்குது, கரெக்ட்டா?
Yes ma'am.
So that is how you can do derived class. Again, I'm just giving examples. You don't have to always have a base class. If you want to do something different for certain menu items, you can make it. That's what I was showing you. Same example as what we saw in animal. நீங்க கத்துக்கிட்ட concepts வச்சு you can use it in every problem is what I'm trying to say.
I thought drink means cool drinks. That's like
right. I'm just giving example, right? Like maybe for the tea and coffee, if let's say maybe you have discount for tea and coffee, separate type of discount or separate calculation, you can keep it separate. That's what I'm saying. Okay. Any questions on what we just discussed? Everybody good?
Yes ma'am.
Hariprasanna? Sivakarthika said yes. Lalita?
Yes ma'am.
Okay. Okay, so I think now let's go back to the problem that you all had questions. So who wants to share your screen and show me what is the where are you stuck? I think Sivakarthika, you said you did not understand the problem, right? So let's talk about the problem itself. Okay, so what she said was you have a message that you want to send to your friend. You don't want others to see the message. You code the message and send it. So algorithm என்ன, each word half-ஆ பிரிக்கணும். அதாவது இப்போ வந்து கிரிக்கெட் அப்படின்னா திருப்பி போட்டா என்ன ஆகும்? அந்த பிரிக்கும் போது CRICKET அப்படின்னு இருக்கு. எத்தனை வேர்ட்ஸ், எத்தனை லெட்டர்ஸ் இருக்குது அந்த வேர்ட்ல? 7 லெட்டர்ஸ் இருக்கு, ரைட்? சோ பாதியா பிரிக்கணும்னா 7/2 போட்டா உங்களுக்கு 3.5 வரும், கரெக்டா? Okay, so 3.5 நம்ம பிரிக்க முடியாது. So I think she is asking you to do split like 3 and then the remaining 4.
Okay,
okay ba? Or 4 and 3, I think. I don't know, that's how she has done it, right? So first என்ன ஆகும்? KET, and the last 3 letters KET வந்துட்டு, no, KET, ஆமா, KET வந்துட்டு அந்த மிடில் லெட்டர் அப்படியே அந்த ஒரு லெட்டர் அப்படியே போட்டுட்டு CRI இந்த பக்கம் போடணும், right? So middle letter is C, so KET C, and then CRI goes to the end of the letter, end of the word.
ஓகே இல்ல மேம் அந்த நடுல சென்டர்ல சி வரதா எனக்கு புரியல மேம். ஓகே மேம்.
சென்டர்ல சி வச்சுக்கணும், அப்படியே
ஓகே
வச்சுக்கணும்.
மேம். ஓகே
ரைட்?
மேம்.
சி இப்ப வந்து இல்லாம சிஆர்ஐ கேஇடி வந்ததுன்னா கேஇடி சிஆர்ஐன்னு வரணும்.
ஓகே மேம்.
ஓகேவா? நடுவுல அந்த லெட்டர் இருக்கிறதுனால அதை அப்படியே வச்சுட்டு பின்னாடி இருக்கிறத முன்னாடி, முன்னாடி இருக்கிறத
முன்னாடி
பின்னாடி.
கதை பின்னாடி. ஓகே மேம்.
Okay? And
Okay,
then if the word ends with a vowel, split at the last letter and reverse. அதாவது இப்ப சினிமா அப்படின்னா லெட்டர் வந்து இப்ப கிரிக்கெட்ல வந்து டீல நின்னுது இல்லையா, அது வவல் கிடையாது, ரைட்? கான்சனன்ட் அது. அதுவே சினிமான்னு போடும்போது அது வவல்ல வந்து எண்ட் ஆகுது. அந்த மாதிரி இருக்கும்போது she is saying only the last letter put it in the front. So சினிமால வவல் வந்து என்ன? ஏ, லாஸ்ட் லெட்டர் ஏ, ரைட்? ஏ முன்னாடி போடு சினிமாக்கு முன்னாடி. அப்ப ஏ சிஐஎன்இஎம் ஆச்சா?
Yes.
கரெக்டா? And then if the word has numbers, spell the number but add a as first and last letters. அதாவது இப்போ ஒரு வேர்டு வந்து நம்ம எடுத்துப்போம் எக்ஸாம்பிள். லெட்ஸ் சே ANT 3 ன்னு இருக்குன்னு வச்சுப்போம்.
ஓகே மேம்.
ஓகே, வாட் ஷி வாண்ட்ஸ் டு டூ இஸ் அந்த 3 நம்பரை வந்து 3 ன்னு எழுதணும். THREE ன்னு எழுதணும்.
மேம் அப்ப எந்த நம்பர் கொடுத்தாலும் எழுதணுமா மேம்?
எந்த நம்பர் கொடுத்தாலும் எழுதணும். யூ ஹேவ் டு ஹேவ் எத்தனை நம்பர் இருக்க போகுது? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0 அவ்வளவுதானே? 10 நம்பர்ஸ்க்கு தானே நீ டிரான்ஸ்லேட் பண்ணும். சோ ஈச் நம்பரை அதனுடைய வேர்டா நம்ம வந்து டிரான்ஸ்லேட் பண்ணணும். ஓகே, பண்ணி ஆல்சோ ஆட் ஏ as the first and last letters. அதாவது இப்ப லெட்ஸ் சே the example I gave you ANT 3 அப்படின்னு கொடுத்தனா எப்படி வரணும்னா கேபிட்டல் A first letter, ANT, then the letter 3 THREE, and then at the end again A போடணும்.
ஓகே மேம்.
That is what the problem statement is. எல்லாருக்கும் புரிஞ்சுதா?
எஸ் மேம்.
வவ்வல்ல எண்டானா அந்த வவ்வலை கொண்டாந்து முதல்ல போடணும். கான்சனன்ட்ல எண்டாச்சுன்னா அதை ஸ்பிளிட் பண்ணி அந்த வேர்டை பின்னாடி போர்ஷனை முன்னாடி, முன்னாடி போர்ஷனை பின்னாடி போடணும். இந்த இதுல எங்கேயாவது நம்பர் இருந்ததுன்னா அந்த வேர்ட்ல யூ ஹாவ் அ டிஃபரெண்ட் லாஜிக் வேர் யூ ஸ்பெல் த வேர்ட், த லெட்டர், த நம்பர், அண்ட் ஆல்சோ ஆட் கேபிட்டல் ஏ இன் த பிகினிங் அண்ட் த லாஸ்ட். ஓகே, so that is the problem statement. So now let's talk about what do you are you having any problem that you want to solve? Any doubts on how to solve it? Okay, sure. Problem எல்லாருக்கும் புரிஞ்சிடுச்சு தானே இப்போ?
எஸ் மேம்.
ஓகே, உங்களுக்கு எல்லா லாஜிக்கும் தெரியும் என்ன பண்ணணும்னு. இப்போ all you have to do is translate it into code. இங்கிலீஷ்ல பண்ண தெரிஞ்சதுன்னா அத கோட்ல போட உங்களுக்கு தெரியும்.
மேம் எனக்கு இந்த சொன்னாங்கல மேம் ஸ்பிளிட் ஈச் வேர்ட் இன் ஹாஃப் அண்ட் வேர்ட்ஸ், அது மட்டும் எனக்கு அத நான் நோட்ல எழுதி பார்த்தேன் மேம். எனக்கு அது என்ன மாதிரி அது ரிவர்ஸ் பண்ணிருக்காங்கன்னே புரியல மேம். நீங்க சொன்னா
இப்பதான் நான் எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ணேன் உனக்கு.
அதான் ஆமா மேம் பண்ணேன் மேம். பண்ணீங்க நோட்ல எழுதி புரியல மேம்.
ஓகே, சரி நீ வந்து நீ ப்ரோக்ராமிங் பண்ணாத முதல்ல. நீ ஒரு நோட் பேட் எடு, உன்னுடைய இதுலயே இன்னொரு ஒரு லைன், இன்னொரு எம்டி பேஜ் எடு.
ஓகே மேம்.
ஓகே, நம்ம இங்கிலீஷ்ல வந்து நம்ம we are going to do it now first. நீ before you attempt it. ஓகே ஓகே, சோ நான் அந்த கிரிக்கெட்ன்ற வேர்டையே எழுதேன். கிரிக்கெட். முதல்ல நீ என்ன பண்ணணும்? லென்த் கண்டுபிடிக்கணும். லென்த் என்ன?
7 மேம்.
சோ இப்போ 7 2 ஆல டிவைட் பண்ணு.
2 ஆல டிவைட் பண்ணா 4.5 வரும்.
3.5 வரும்.
Sorry 3.5.
Right. So take only the numerical portion, which is
அப்பனா நம்ம double division method யூஸ் பண்ணனும்.
என்ன வேணா நீ யூஸ் பண்ணு. I'm saying logically நீ programming ன்னு அப்புறம் மாத்திக்கோப்பா. 7/2 ல உனக்கு 3 தான் வேணும். உனக்கு integer portion வேணும் 3. Okay, so now take the first 3 letters.
Okay ma'am. CRI.
Take the last 3 letters. So no ஒரு வேரியபிள் மாதிரி எழுதிக்கோ. First 3 letters is, or you can say A equal to CRI, B is equal to KET. சும்மா ஒரு லாஜிக்கலா எழுத சொல்றேன் உன்னை. அப்புறம் மிடில் என்ன இருக்கு? இப்போ இது 3.5ன்றதுனால இன்னொரு லெட்டர் மீதி இருக்கும் எப்பவுமே, கரெக்டா? சோ அந்த மிடில் லெட்டர் என்ன? சீன் வச்சுக்கோ.
ஓகே.
சோ மிடில் ஈக்குவல் டு சி. ஓகேவா?
ஓகே.
மிடில் ஈக்குவல் டு சி. ஸோ இப்போ நீ இது என்ன எப்படி எழுதணும்? முதல்ல வந்து லாஸ்ட், அந்த ஏபியை வேணா ஃபர்ஸ்ட் லாஸ்ட்னு எழுதிக்கோ புரியணும்னா. செகண்ட்ல அந்த ஏக்கு பதிலா ஃபர்ஸ்ட்னு போடு, பிக்கு பதிலா லாஸ்ட்னு போடு. இப்போ நீ இந்த நியூ வேர்ட் ஈக்குவல் டு, நெக்ஸ்ட் லைன்ல நியூ வேர்ட் ஈக்குவல் டு லாஸ்ட் பிளஸ் மிட் பிளஸ் ஃபர்ஸ்ட். அவ்வளவுதானே? அவ்வளவுதான். So KET CRI. ஓகே, இப்போ இன்னொரு லெட்டர் வேர்டு எடுத்துக்கோ. நெக்ஸ்ட்ல அதை அப்படியே ரிப்பீட் பண்ண அந்த லைன்ஸை. இப்போ வந்து லெட்ஸ் சே ஐ அம் கிவிங் யூ த வேர்ட் விச் இஸ் லாஸ்ட். வேர்டே லாஸ்ட் என்னோட வேர்டு. என்ன வரும்?
3.0 மேம்.
அப்பா 4/2 என்னப்பா? 2.0. நீ இப்போ ரொம்ப அட்வான்ஸ்டா போயிட்டு மல்டிப்ளிகேஷன் டேபிள்ஸ் மறந்துடுறோம் நம்ம. ஓகே, சோ ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஈக்குவல் டு என்ன வரும்?
ஃபர்ஸ்ட் இஸ் ஈக்குவல் டு LA மேம்.
அவ்வளவுதான். லாஸ்ட் ஈக்குவல் டு
ST.
லாஸ்ட் ஈக்குவல் டு ST. மிடில் ஈக்குவல் டு
மிடில் எதுவுமே இருக்காது.
எழுதிக்கோங்க. மிட் ஈக்குவல் டு நத்திங், டபுள் கோட்ஸ் போடு. அவ்வளவுதான். சோ இப்போ நியூ வேர்ட் ஈக்குவல் டு
நியூ வேர்ட் இஸ் ஈக்குவல் டு ஃபர்ஸ்ட் பிளஸ் மிட் பிளஸ் லாஸ்ட்.
லாஸ்ட் பிளஸ் மிட் பிளஸ்
sorry லாஸ்ட் பிளஸ் மிட் பிளஸ்.
so which is what?
Yes, okay ma'am.
ST LA.
Yes ma'am.
அவ்வளவுதான். இது நீ ப்ரோக்ராம் பண்ண முடியாதா?
இல்ல மேம், பண்ணிடுவேன் மேம்.
அதான், அதனால தான் சொன்னேன் எப்பவுமே when you don't understand a concept, write it in English. நான் ஃபர்ஸ்ட்ல இருந்து உங்களுக்கு நாங்க சொல்லி கொடுத்துட்டு இருக்கோம். கரெக்டா? ஓகே, வாட் எல்ஸ்?
மேம் இப்போ இந்த கிரிக்கெட்டே எடுத்துக்கிட்டோம்ல மேம், இது வந்து நான் என்ன பண்ணேன்னா மேம், டிவைட் பண்ணிட்டு ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஹாஃப் எடுத்துட்டு செகண்ட் ஹாஃப் ஸ்லைஸ் பண்ணி எடுத்துட்டு,
சரி,
அதுக்கப்புறம் வந்து ரிவர்ஸ்டு வேர்டுன்னு போட்டு இப்போ செகண்ட் ஹாஃப் பிளஸ் அந்த ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஹாஃப், அதாவது நம்ம அந்த ரிவர்ஸ் எழுதணும்னா நம்ம அந்த இது போடுவோம்ல மேம், டபுள் கோட்ஸ் போட்டு -1 போட்டு பைத்தான்ல. ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி நான் ரெண்டையும் ஆட் பண்ணாலே எனக்கு வருது மேம்.
there is no one way to do this program. ஓகேவா? எப்படி வேணா நம்ம பண்ணலாம். பட் நீ லாஜிக்கலா இதுதான் பண்ணணும்னு நீ எப்படி பண்ணணும் நீ லாஜிக் எழுதுறியோ அதை ப்ரோக்ராம் பண்ண, அவ்வளவுதான். Right? The way I was trying to explain to Krishna is like breaking it into what exactly the requirements were. There are so many ways to do the same thing. As long as you are achieving the answer, it is correct.
Okay. One more, ma'am. If the word ends with a vowel, split the last letter and reverse அப்படின்னு கொடுத்திருக்காங்க மேம்.
ரிவர்ஸ் சொல்லலையே. ரிவர்ஸ் சொல்லல.
அந்த ரிவர்ஸ் தான் மேம் போட்டிருக்காதுல.
சினிமா வந்து ACINE
and reverse மேம். பட் எக்ஸாம்பிள் வந்து they said like that மேம். பட் வந்து அதுல கொடுத்திருக்கிறது வந்து and reverse போட்டிருக்காங்க மேம் அதுல.
Okay, I was only looking at the example. So reverse பண்ணனும்னா reverse பண்ணலாமே, ஈஸி தானே. ரிவர்ஸ் பண்ணனும்னா எப்படி பண்ணனும்? ஒரு for loop போட்டு பின்னாடில இருந்து எழுதணும், அவ்வளவுதானே.
அந்த பார்ட் மட்டும் பண்ணல மேம் அந்த vowel.
Okay, சரி. So if you want to know how to do it, do you want to share your screen and go open a text pad? Think about the same thing. The way I was explaining to Krishna, how would you reverse a word? So Krishna, text pad மறுபடியும் போங்க. Since you are sharing your screen. Okay, so இப்ப cinema எழுதிக்கோங்க next letterல, cinema, right? So you found out that cinema ends with a vowel, right? So what are you supposed to take?
Last one to the first, last letter to first one, ma'am.
So last letter equal to A, last character equal to A. அப்புறமா the word equal to, remaining word equal to CINEM, correcta?
Yes ma'am.
CINEM. So இப்ப இதை என்ன பண்ணணும் லலிதா? You need to write it as MENIC, correcta?
Yes, ma'am.
சோ ஒரு வேர்டை ஒரு கேரக்டரா பிரிண்ட் பண்ணோம்னா எப்படி பண்ணணும்னு உங்களுக்கு ஞாபகம் இருக்கா?
Ma'am,
இப்போ இந்த வேர்டை நான் வந்து ஒரு லெட்டரா பிரிக்கணும்னா வாட் இஸ் த லாஜிக் தட் யூ
for
வில்
loop,
யூஸ்?
for loop,
for loop போட்டு.
for
ஓகே,
போட்டுட்டு
இதனுடைய லென்த் வந்து எவ்வளவு இப்போ? வாட் இஸ் த லென்த் ஆஃப் த வேர்ட்?
4, ma'am.
4
Actually,
இல்ல
5, ma'am.
5.
5. Mm.
சோ இப்போ ஃபார் லூப் எழுதும்போது நான் இனிஷியல்ல இருந்து எண்ட் வரைக்கும் போனா எனக்கு CINEM வரும். நான் எண்ட்ல
Yes,
இருந்து
ma'am.
இனிஷியலுக்கு
Reverse
போனா என்ன வரும்?
MEMI.
அவ்வளவுதானே. That's what I have to put together, correct?
Okay.
So write the for loop where the index is going downwards.
Mm-mm.
That's it.
Okay.
Okay?
மேம் அது ஸ்ட்ரிங்ஸ்ல யூஸ் பண்ணிட்டு போயிடலாம் மேம். லாஸ்ட்
எப்படி
கேரக்டர்.
வேணா பண்ணலாம் பா. There are so many ways to do it. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, ma'am.
The concept is what you need to understand. What am I trying to do here? Right? I want to go backwards. Is that good, Lalita? Does that help?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any other
மேம் சொன்ன
question?
எக்ஸாம்பிள் தப்பு.
So இது வந்து அவங்க என்ன சொல்றாங்கன்னா ரிவர்ஸ் பண்ணோம்னா it will be AMENIC.
எஸ் மேம். எனக்கு அதான் டவுட் இருந்துச்சு. ஒருவேளை லாஸ்ட் கேரக்டர் தான் தூக்கி ரிவர்ஸ் பண்ண சொல்றாங்களோன்னு நினைச்சிட்டு நான் அப்படி பண்ணிச்சிட்டேன். இந்த மெத்தட்லயே பண்ணிருக்கேன் மேம்.
அந்த மெத்தட்ல பண்ணாலும் பரவாயில்ல. புரிஞ்சுக்கிறத வச்சு ரெக்குவயர்மெண்ட்ஸ்க்கு வேகா இருந்ததுன்னா you can code it anyway. And the way Lalita understood, she is coding that way. That's fine. No problem. Okay.
அப்புறம் இங்க அவ்வளவுதான் மேம்.
Anything else, Sivakarthika? Do you have any questions on this program or Hari Prasanna?
No questions.
Okay.
No question,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay, good. Okay, so I think one of the things that I would strongly suggest, நீங்க அந்த YouTube videos பார்த்திருக்கீங்களா? சயூருடைய பழைய videos. Have you seen it?
No, ma'am.
பார்த்ததில்ல. Okay. So let me do one thing. You can stop sharing your screen, Krishna.
ஓகே மேம்.
Let me go to YouTube. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Let me know if you can see my screen. எல்லாருக்கும் தெரியுதா? Can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So Sayur Tech YouTubeல போயிட்டு Sayur Techனு ஒரு சேனல் இருக்கு. So you can go and subscribe to that if you want, or I don't know how if you are watching at all. So இந்த Sayur Techல என்ன ஆகும், every week நாங்க எடுக்கிற classes வந்து நம்ம ரெக்கார்ட் பண்றோம் இல்லையா, that will go into this channel, right? So that you can go back and check it, right? So இப்போ இதுல வந்து பிளேலிஸ்ட் பாத்தீங்கன்னா அதையும் பண்ணிருக்காங்க இங்க. So இங்க if you see internship prep, programming essentials, so அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு full playlist that she has done based on the thing. And if you also look at the videos, right, you can also see the popular videos where there is like these project presentations, பழைய presentations பண்ணதெல்லாம் அதுல இருக்கு. So the main thing that I wanted to call out for you is object oriented. So if you see that I told you about object oriented programming, correct? So let's see. Oh, இது வெளியில போயிடுச்சு. Hold on one second. Okay, so if you see,
போர்டு பக்கத்துல இருக்கு சார் பண்ணீங்கன்னா வரும்.
oops போட்டிருந்ததா? இது ஆப்ஜெக்ட் ஓரியன்டட் நினைக்கிறேன். Object. Enapa? Sorry, you were saying something. Yeah. So see here, you have object-oriented program 1, 4, 2, 3, 6, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 irukku classes that we took on object-oriented programming for the last batches. Can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
கண்ணன் சார் வந்து ரொம்ப அழகா சொல்லி கொடுப்பாரு என்ன விட ஆப்ஜெக்ட் ஓரியன்டட் ப்ரோக்ராமிங். அப்படியே வந்து என்ன சொல்றது புட்டு வச்சு சொல்லி கொடுப்பா அந்த மாதிரி சொல்லி கொடுப்பார். ஓகே, so I would strongly suggest if you want to learn more deep about object oriented programming from different angles in projects in everything, I would strongly suggest as you get time please look at these classes. Okay va? One length start பண்ணுங்க. You can put it in a higher speed and you can skip some things, and I strongly suggest you look at these videos. Okay va?
Okay,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
So you make use of these videos, right? So again, as I said, like we try to, I think Chitra tries to put a title every time. What is it that we are doing, right? So if you see here, like for example, last week when the recursion patti kattuktinga, correct? So she named that video recursion. Now when the file and JSON solli kuduthappo, she named it file and JSON, so that you can at least have a reference of what is it that is here. Lambda functions, dictionary and lambda functions, function scope. So any concept, regex, right? And it's not that I'm the only one teaching, right? There are other people teaching, there are different classes. So everything is stored here. Like you wanted to know about string functions, go and look at those pigs, right? It will give you so much insight into like git na enna அப்படின்றது ஒருத்தங்க வந்து கிருஷ்ணான்றவர் வந்து சொல்லி கொடுத்திருக்காருங்க git intro, right? So for loops, array na enna, you know, like these are all like new ones which you have already attended. But if you go to the back and you see like older videos, right? If you see the oldest videos, this might be like 1 year ago, right? Orientation, setup, VS Code எப்படி setup பண்ணோம், GitHub ல என்ன பண்ணோம். So there are so many different things. How do you debug? How do you use VS Code, Git and debug? Python strings. So database na enna. So we have done these classes already to different people. So இது வந்து students வச்சு அவர் debugging பண்ணிருக்காரு and so on, right? So try to do these things. Whenever you have a question about a specific concept, go into this channel and go through it so that the other batches, how did they learn? What are the examples they came up with? இதெல்லாம் நீங்க பார்க்கலாம். Mainly before anything, I would strongly suggest look at all the object oriented ones, which I just showed you, right? Look at the object oriented. There are like 6 classes in object oriented. At least start with that first. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. So how did the class go today for you?
Yes, ma'am.
Start.
இன்னும் கொஞ்சம் improving ஆயிடுச்சு group concept ல.
Okay. Lalita?
Well, understood the its concept using examples.
Okay. Sivakarthika?
மேம் அன்னைக்கு லாஸ்ட் கிளாஸ் half an hour தான் மேம் இருந்தோம். இப்போ வந்து நல்லா புரிஞ்சு மேம்.
Okay. Hariprasanna?
Yes, ma'am. இன்னைக்கு கொஞ்சம் கத்துக்கிட்டேன். Oops.
Okay. Good. So you can always go back and replay this. This will be also come as a video in YouTube. So you can also go back and see what we went through. If you missed something, if anybody, any of your friends who didn't attend the class, ask them to go check the video, right? That's all you can do. And as I said, look at all the object-oriented programming videos so you can learn more and more and more. Sariya? Anything else for today?
மேம் இந்த செமஸ்டர் எக்ஸாம் இருக்கிற அன்னைக்கு கிளாஸ் இருக்கு மேம்.
So next week வந்து she already said, hold on, let me see. Chitra வந்து என்ன சொன்னாங்கன்னா she will send out a message about reduced frequency of class. ஏன்னா உங்களுக்கு finals Tuesdayல இருந்து ஆரம்பிக்குதுன்னு சொன்னாங்க. So she will be sending a message. I think next week class இருக்காதுன்னு நினைக்கிறேன். சரியா? அவங்க மெசேஜ் அனுப்புவாங்க. எனக்கு தெரியாது எக்ஸாக்ட்டா what she is planning to do, but she'll definitely send you a message. Okay? Okay then. Okay, and good luck with your finals, everybody. Thank you, and talk to you next Sunday. Okay? Bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.